back again. I appreciate everybody for tuning in today. I got another special guest, someone who's multifaceted, someone that has a lot of layers that I really want to unpack. Great businessman, great father, great coach, my man, Erich Bailey with E12 Performance and Fitness. Thank you for doing this with me, coach.
No problem, man. Thanks for having me.
And I appreciate you taking your time out to do this. I know you're a busy man, again, with the business and all of the layers that are involved there, and fatherhood, and so many other things that you have under your belt, and the things that you're doing on a day-to-day basis. So again, I appreciate you. It's funny that it's been almost 10 years now when we met, right?
Yeah.
Right. I was thinking about it on my way in, that when I met you at UFC gym, in which we'll unpack that in a few,
Yeah.
that we were both, I'd say, young.
Green. Yeah.
Right.
Green for
Right.
sure.
Um, let's jump right into things, and let's talk about upbringing and how you got to where you are today. So you grew up in the DMV?
I did. PG County, all over PG County, parts of DC, family all over.
So how was it growing up there?
I don't know. I feel like any natural place that you grow up. You know, we lived in the suburbs, middle class family, not well off, but we were all right. You know what I mean? I had both my parents, my brothers. Mom's an educator, dad an entrepreneur.
Right. Okay.
And you know, it was cool, man. It wasn't what would you say? It wasn't traumatizing, I would say. There's been moments, but you know, I had a cool upbringing, man. It wasn't nothing crazy at all. You know, the DMV got their own flavor, got their own style, their own culture. So, you know, I do miss a lot of that. You know, Richmond definitely has its own speed, its own culture. I enjoy Richmond.
Right.
But there are some similarities for sure. There are some deep similarities.
So growing up in the DMV, how would you say that growing up in the DMV shaped the trajectory of where you've ended up?
I would say growing up in the DMV has shaped my trajectory in a perspective of diversity. I've been around a lot of different people from a lot of different backgrounds, a lot of different cultures. PG County is huge on diversity. You know, all the immigration and everything that's going on, you know, like Prince George's County and DC is a huge epicenter in terms of diversity, major backgrounds. And then I would say, you know, competition and just competitiveness.
Right.
There's a lot of people in the DMV.
Right.
Everybody's wearing all the hats that they can. Cost of living there is completely different. And yeah, man, you know, just really, really those two things, you know what I'm saying? But yeah.
So growing up in a household with your dad, that's something that I didn't realize that I missed until I was an adult. Growing up in a household with your dad, how did that shape you as a man?
My dad, I'm his namesake, so I'm the second. And my dad imprinted on me a completely different way than my brothers. He pretty much influenced everything that I'm doing now in terms of like how I'm approaching, you know, business, life, fatherhood. Yeah, my dad played a pivotal role in who I am today for sure.
What sorts of things did he do as an entrepreneur? Just flat out hustling?
Oh yeah, all the time.
Yeah.
And it was easy for him to just pull me out there too. So, you know, from I would say like 6th grade, all of middle school, I'm waking up 2 a.m., jumping in the truck with him, heading to his box truck. From the box truck, we go into the paper plant.
Right.
Cutting the plastic, loading the trucks up, you know, and then from there we dropping them off at different stations, metro stations, and then different post offices, and loading up the newspaper machines and making sure that the post office had their papers for the day. And then, you know, that turned into something completely different. But yeah, definitely a hustle man.
Right.
You know?
Right. That's dope. Like that. the grind and the hustle culture was kind of imprinted on you from a young age,
Yeah.
and you kind of had a point of reference in that aspect of things. So let me ask you this: you train a lot of youth athletes and that sort of thing, and in which, again, we'll get into that a lot deeper a little bit later as well. What sports were you active in growing up?
Mainly 3: basketball, football, and then just you could say it was track. It wasn't track. We were just outside racing all the time, really.
Right.
But yeah, it's a lot of basketball and a lot of football for sure. A lot of
Right.
basketball, a lot of football.
When did fitness start to get serious for you?
When I was trying to make the team,
Right.
because these kids are already playing in their sports. I mean, my parents weren't really big on sports at all, so we weren't competing in, extracurricular, like, AAU basketball, Part 1 and stuff like that. Now, like, I was introduced in high school, so I had a athletic edge,
Right.
and that's when I knew I was like, all right, I got to play to my strength. So,
Right. That's cool. So moving on, when did that become a passion for you? When did that become something that you when did you realize, okay, this could be something that could be
in high
a
school.
career for me?
In high school,
Yeah.
my coaches have had a huge impact on what I'm doing today and like who I am right now. So
Right.
immediately I was like, you know what? I want to be a gym teacher. This seems easy. They have a salary. They get vacations. We had an instructor, Mr. Plummer. Everybody knew Mr. Plummer. You know what I mean? So the people who going to catch this joint, they say, he just brought up Mr. Plummer? Yes, I just brought up Mr. Plummer. However, Mr. Plummer was a cool guy, and he just seemed like, he enjoyed what he did. You know what I mean? He was always around athletics. Coached tennis. Never seen the man play tennis in our life, but he made himself available to be a part of our extracurricular activities, however we need it. But yeah, man, it was that. It was that, and then the coaches for sure, football and track coaches.
So what was your first gig as it relates to fitness?
My first gig as it relates to fitness would be, if you counting family and friends, it was my mama.
Right.
It was my mom. Professionally though, it would be Fitness Evolution. I was hired there. I was there for 2 weeks, and then on to Sport and Health in DC,
Right.
where I pretty much was entry level there. Last trainer hired 22 trainers on the staff. They've been there for 10, 15, 20 years. So, man, I was able to soak up so much.
And what brought you to Richmond?
Training.
Training.
A friend of mine at the time doing a lot of boxing training. I was doing boxing training with him, and he was offered an opportunity through a mutual family member and friend, and he seen that, or it came as a package, double trouble. So we came down to Richmond to open up UFC Gym, and it was up. It was up from there. It was up.
With UFC Gym, what did that experience teach you, or what did you learn about in that experience that helps you today as an entrepreneur?
A lot happened when I was with UFC Gym. So in that experience alone, ultimately, I felt like, when you feel like you need more and you giving all that you got, and you feel like you're lacking leadership,
Right.
because you desire to be where you are today.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Mentorship. You gotta go. You gotta take that jump. A lot of good things happened at UFC Gym. However, ultimately, while I was there, I just felt like, I wasn't completely getting what I needed there.
Right.
But tons of great experience. I was able to, from there, go help open up the very first Mayweather Boxing and Fitness in LA. That came through UFC Gym. A lot of boxing classes and personal training and exercise classes and things of that nature. Getting that experience working with those clients, and so a lot of those clients are still my clients today. So
Right.
just being able to make those connections and build those relationships,
Right.
ultimately too with UFC Gym, you know what
Right.
I'm saying? So like those building those relationships, and then just like actually knowing when like, yo, I need help.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I want somebody to teach me more, help me get to where I'm going. So yeah, just
And
mentorship.
there was something that stuck out to me with what you just said regarding just needing more or wanting more. I think there comes a time, especially when you're working for someone else or you're on a job or whatever the case may be, there comes a point where you start to get that desire and you just know there's more for me. There's more that I can get out of myself. I have more potential than I can maximize here.
Right.
You know, so I think everyone in the entrepreneurial journey gets to that point where they realize there's more, and some people go for it and some people don't.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna ask you this first. So you worked for another gym as well, am I right? Here in Richmond.
I did. I worked all over. I
Right.
worked all over. So again, shout out to UFC Gym. I ain't trying to, you know, be mean or nothing like
Right.
that. But UFC Gym, while I was with UFC Gym, just to be quick, I was working with Ricardo Marsh. Shout out to Ricardo Marsh. I worked with him. He had AAU teams, a lot of teams did that. And another guy named, I want to say Lawrence Hallism. He had a small contracting company with personal training, working with, you know, apartments and things. So I'm hustling, getting it.
Right.
Left UFC Gym looking for the mentorship. Ended up going to, before then, attempted, because you just said something like you try to go do something and it just doesn't pan out and it just doesn't work out. So in the midst of me transitioning into what would be Burn Bootcamp, I attempted to do what I'm doing now, which was own and operate. But yeah, after that attempt, went to Burn Bootcamp.
Perseverance just stuck out to me because I do think when we get that fire and we decide it's time for us to do something else, some make the jump, some don't make the jump. But just because you make the jump, that doesn't mean it's gonna work the first time.
Right.
You know, what I think with business, it's a thing where you just can't give up
at all.
The thing that sets apart the people from winning, the people who win from the people who don't win, is the fact that they just never give up. The winners never give up. And I think that's a piece that people who have a desire to own businesses or be an entrepreneur, they have to have
grit.
They got to persevere.
Yeah.
You know, so if it doesn't work the first time, sometimes you have to take a step back and say, okay, what happened over here? What didn't happen? What could I have done better? What do I need to add? What do I need to subtract? Okay, let's go back in.
Exactly.
And again, I think sometimes that separates the winners from the people that aren't so successful. So when you went back in the second time,
yeah,
it worked.
It did work.
What was different?
Experience. Experience. You know, God, universe has plans. You know what I mean? If you stick it out, the plans will work itself out. But I didn't meet all the people that I needed to meet yet. I didn't go through all the mud that I was supposed to go through to kind of mold and curate, you know, everything. Because, you know, the process is super important. And I'm known to be very impatient. So that first time was exactly what that was. It's a huge reminder that, like, you know, you're an impatient person. You know what I mean? So, you know, you feel this little burn, little bumps and bruise. You know what I mean? Do what you got to do, stabilize, and then when you can stabilize, try to grow from that.
So E12 Performance and Fitness is off the ground.
Off the ground.
Shout out to E12, man. I always speak highly of you and E12 as a family, because I think you have something that I think a lot of people miss when it comes to gyms and its community. It feels like a family in your organization and so forth. How did you go about creating that type of environment and that type of culture?
Well, it kind of like crafted and curated itself. It's a mixture of, all the relationships that I was able to, you know, connect with in terms of people throughout the time of me coming here to Richmond. So, you pretty much can gauge who you like, who you don't like,
Right.
who you can work with, who you can't work with, who's fit for you, who isn't. And you're gonna pretty much choose people of similar energies, you know
Right.
what I'm saying? So that way it works well for you. When you working in a big box gym and you doing it for the man, whoever the man is, right?
Mhm.
You got to do things by their rules, and you coming into contact with people that you don't always fit, even though
Mhm.
you forced it, like, make the sell, rather than when you get to build and craft over time and just put into the relationships and connect there, it pretty much, again, kind of like works itself out. So that's pretty much how it's happened.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a really dope thing that you've grown over the years, and definitely it's a pleasure to be a part of it. Let's get into some practical things and
Okay.
give some people advice relative
Oh,
to
Lord.
fitness.
Do as I say, not as I do.
So you're a busy entrepreneur yourself.
Mm.
I think in a lot of people's lives, regardless if you're an entrepreneur or you have a family and a 9 to 5, everyone has a lot of stuff going on. One of the most common things or common issues that I hear people mention relative to fitness and working out and that sort of thing is that they don't have a time. They don't have the time.
Yeah.
What advice do you give to someone who says, I don't have time to work out?
First thing is stop making excuses.
Right.
Because we all make time
For what we want to
for
do.
what we want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Whatever that may be. Right? Leisurely. Right? So it's really just trying to share that time. Just understand, like, if this is what you want, this is a goal of yours. If you're going to commit to it, you got to allocate time to it.
Yeah.
And you can't make excuses. And whatever that time is, everything compounds, like we always talk about, you know what I'm saying, during our sessions, like interest, right? So you don't need to build Rome in a day. It's not going to happen in one session. Your results aren't going to come overnight because it took a long time for you to get to where you were in the first place.
Right.
Right. So it's just understanding that, like, do everything in increments. You know what I mean? And just commit to the small steps.
Right.
The small steps. You'll look back, you'll be leagues behind to where you started, and it'll be hard to recognize that you even traveled that far to begin with.
Consistency. It's consistency.
Yeah.
And so with that being said, how do you build consistency? Do you believe in like morning routines and stuff like that?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, I believe in any routine, wherever it fits in, wherever it makes sense for you. You know what I mean? Like, you might be a nurse on one of those crazy shifts and swings, or you might be having one of those jobs where you work maybe like all week and then you're off for a week. So it's just trying to find like time. You know what I mean? Just commit to that time for you. 30 minutes is perfect for most people. 30 minutes is perfect.
So as a fitness entrepreneur, do you take responsibility for your clients' weight loss personally? The reason why I ask you this question is because I think certain times I've seen people hold trainers responsible for their weight loss and say, okay, it's not working with my trainer because I'm not
X,
losing
Y,
weight.
and Z.
But for me, I think it's not necessarily about the trainer. It's about what you do at home and what you're doing. Because
absolutely,
you can do a great job as a trainer in the gym for 1 hour.
That's it.
But if you send them outside,
don't know how those next 23 gonna rock.
Exactly.
I don't.
So how do you overcome expectations as it relates to?
I set the expectations based on like the current habits right then and there. Right. It's, in the beginning, when I was a young trainer, I'm like, it's my fault. They're not getting results. How could this be? However, once I learn who you are outside, when I see you outside, like when we share the same public space, I'm like, oh, right? Or when you come back into the gym and you say, man, I'm struggling with this. I've been eating this because of this reason, that reason, comfort foods, all these things. I'm not there with you when you're indulging. So after a while, I kind of was able to step back, fall back, and not be like, emotionally connected in that way. To whereas I feel like, I could be the issue or the blame to someone not getting results. Like, we all know what we doing. That goes into why we getting what we get and why we don't get what we get.
Right.
And like you said, you there for an hour. We work out all the time. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? I could kill you in an hour. It could be something technical in an hour. You could sweat, whatever. What you eating after?
For sure.
So like, what are you normally eating after your workouts?
For me, sometimes I may not eat.
Okay.
Other times, I may eat terrible. If I'm completely locked in, then it's something healthy. Obviously, I go through waves, and over the last 8 years, you've seen me go up and down and up and down.
Right.
And I think that's a normal thing.
Yeah.
You're not always going to be 100% locked in and perfect with your diet and have everything dialed in perfectly. Life is life. And I think people need to be more accepting of that and just keep waking up every day and trying their best, man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? What do you think about people getting help, like GLP-1s, when their primary goal is like weight loss?
Yeah.
Well, what are your thoughts on that?
Regardless of whatever you're doing, you know what I'm saying, with the doctors in the lab, you're still going to have to get in the gym, move your body. You're still going to have to fuel your body with nutritious things. You know what I mean? So, and then, again, like, everyone's doing it for different reasons. Some people have like real health issues, real conditions where, these drugs would help, you know what I'm saying? Or this enhancement, whatever it is, would help. You know what I mean? In terms of quality of life. But, outside of that, just get in the gym.
Right.
Just push, just work. You'll be happy you did it because it'll start those habits will start bleeding into some other things outside of the gym, which is ultimately, like, I think the reason why we continue to stay in the gym outside of that superficial, like, health reason or aesthetic thing. Like, it's actually, amplifying other spaces in our lives.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because it's a routine thing. So you try to become routine in other parts of your life where you want to get better.
Right. So I think fitness and being healthy and that sort of thing is one of the most, probably the most important thing for us as individuals. With that being said, sometimes we need to invest in our health. And that comes with eating the right food, shopping at the right grocery stores, and in some cases, retaining someone like yourself,
some services, some training
to help
services,
with accountability and whatever else that the individual might need help with. What do you say to someone who might say a trainer costs too much, or X, Y, and Z food costs too much? What are your thoughts on that? Do you think there's a price tag on that?
Ain't no price tag on your health.
Right.
You know what I mean? There's definitely no price tag on your health. You could put one on there. That's up to you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We all do. Whatever weekend it is or whatever day of the week, it's always 5 o'clock somewhere, right?
Yeah.
But,
and you gotta live a little.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know
you should be able to enjoy yourself.
Right.
I'm not against enjoying yourself. But there needs to be a level of balance.
Right.
You know what I mean? But for someone who feels like, training can be expensive, you know what I mean? You need to weigh what actually can be expensive. And, you actually have to look at your actual hard finances, your expenses.
Right.
To want to be healthy is a thing. And if you have disposable income, it's a really good investment.
Right.
By far. You only get one body. You know what I mean? We all have health something. You know what I'm saying? But just for somebody who feels like, from an affordability standpoint, if you don't have the money to get the guidance, right, there are other avenues, right? So you can get online. Everybody chat GPT. I'm pretty sure there's something on your TV that on Netflix or on YouTube that you can follow along. So, whether you feel like it's expensive or not, nothing's more expensive than like bad health.
Right.
So, find time to move. You know what I mean? Find time to move. And, when you can be mindful of like what you putting in your body, be mindful of it. You know what I mean?
And talk about your services a little bit. So I know you do small group training,
Yeah.
personal training.
Yep.
I've seen you online training folks at apartment complexes and doing all kinds of stuff. Talk about your services and the things that you offer that can help busy people out with getting the right routines in.
I got you. Simply put, like with the style of training and like what we offer is just simply like a lot of versatility. Small group training offers more or less, for those people who are on the go, who do not have complete flexibility to just work out, at particular hours of the day. They probably have the normal 9 to 5. So you have your morning time, you have your evening time. You try to get in where you fit in. You know what I mean? No excuses. There's times for you. There are times for you. One-on-one training normally is more fit for someone who has a little bit more flexibility. Our normal one-on-one training client is probably like a young professional or an entrepreneur, somebody who has that time, that lunch hour or that time to start late or start early. A lot of athletic training, youth training, whether it's basketball, football, boxing, you name it, we do it.
Let's dive into that. That's the perfect segue into what I wanted to talk to you about next, which is just the landscape of youth athletes, student athletes, and even NIL.
Yeah.
So growing up, there were no youth trainers. Like, you better go outside and pick up that ball.
There were youth trainers, but for us, there weren't no trainers. We didn't have access to those type of resources at all.
Not even a thought in my mind. If I went to my mom and said I thought I needed a trainer,
boy, you better take your
man,
outside.
you don't go outside.
That's right.
And figure it out. But so now people are investing a lot more into their children. You have NIL, in which students are getting paid for what they do now. And I see you train a lot of youth athletes, and you've helped my kids. And I see you got your own son running around the gym now. What are your thoughts on training for student athletes?
If you are playing a sport, for sure, get you a trainer. It's how you get. It's really that guidance and that help. A good trainer at that, but it's really that guidance and help that's going to help you separate yourself. You know what I mean? Amongst your fellow peers, it's always going to come down to the training and the coaching. Two separate things, but you need a good you need a good coach, you need a good trainer. You know what I mean? Especially if you're going to compete in athletics,
right?
Because it's very competitive.
Absolutely.
It's very competitive.
And really, as I've been going to my kids' games and having them participate in different sports over the years, I've noticed that with coaching youth for youth sports, a lot of times there aren't a lot of particular skills training that goes on at practices and that sort of thing. They're actually telling the kids, you need to go home and
work on these skills. Right. Absolutely.
It's almost like you're not here to. They do develop you in a sense. However, I think most of the development takes place outside of actual practice.
I think there needs to be more education on, what coaching is and what training is.
Tell me about that.
So when we're talking about coaching, right? Coaching is more about the X's and O's, the strategies, the game. They're teaching you the game.
Right.
This is where you're supposed to be. This is why you're supposed to be there. This is your job. Right. It's not telling you how to do it. Right. It's just what to do and why to do it. This is how we win. Right. Whereas the training is more so skill based. You know what I mean? This is how you do something.
Right.
This is how you make a cut. This is how you lift this weight. This is how you shoot this basket. This is how you shoot this jab. You get what I'm saying? Now, the trainer can't teach you how to play the game all the time. They're not good at that. And the coach can't actually get you faster, make you jump higher, or even really be there to count your reps.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? So, they're both cohesive. They're very cohesive. You know what I mean? If you want your child to have success in whatever respective sport that they're playing, you want to try to find that cohesiveness. And you have to be willing to invest in those things. You know what I mean? Because it's a competitive space and nobody plays and practices and trains to lose.
Right.
It's a lot of money floating around. This is why NILs came to a thing in the first place. So, they're not giving NILs and scholarships to losers. That's just not. And I don't mean to say it like that, but it's a competitive space. So, just you want to be mindful of those things and just understand that like there are these differences and things, and you want to try to make sure that you're getting your child all the things that they need to be successful. So it's not as painful when they're out there doing it. Right. It's a lot of lessons out there.
So where do you know what? I've been trying to consider how to or where to draw the line as it relates to encouraging kids to have fun,
right,
and just go out there and do their thing,
right,
versus we gotta be competitive.
Okay.
Honestly, I struggle with that with my own kids. In particular, my 9-year-old. So my 17-year-old, he was always competitive. My 9-year-old, he's having fun.
Yep.
He does have a competitive spirit too.
He does.
However, I find myself having to get him to lock in a little bit more as it relates to the competitive nature. Like, is he better than you? Do you think he's better than you? Go out here and show me
we didn't even know he didn't care at first. I don't know that.
Right. So where do you draw the line between kids having fun and being competitive? You know what I'm saying? What would you tell your son? How would you deal with your son on that?
EJ? Yeah. EJ's gonna be his father's child.
Yeah.
So
I can see that.
Yeah. So he's definitely gonna be completely competitive.
Mama a super athlete.
It's the genetics are crazy.
Yeah.
And yes, we look at him like a mail ticket, just a little bit, like a lotto ticket. It would be damaging, it'll be working against it if we don't put everything we got into EJ. But where you draw the line, it is a fine line. Everything is about balance. You want your children, you want your athletes to enjoy what it is that they're doing. But they also need to understand that, this is a sport. Your job is to compete. And if you're on a team, you need to be a good teammate. You have to be able to contribute. So it's not always about fun, because contribution isn't always about fun. We all have families. For those of us who have families, right? There's a certain level of contribution. It's like what chores and all these things are. So, the sport in that team aspect is going to teach you those things. These things are painful. These things are painful. So because it's painful, it's not fun. Right. So it's hard, to try to find that balance, because you want your child, you want your athlete to enjoy what it is that they're doing, but you also want them to get the finer things and get to the other side of it too, where, you having this success level. And that's also fun too.
Right.
Being a hard worker, trying to be efficient, being dedicated, being accountable, all these painful things will get you to a completely different level of fun. You know what I mean?
And everything that you mentioned there, they're all life lessons. They're all things that we have to deal with in life, in business, with our families, and so forth. Accountability. Accountability is a huge thing in sports. Performance. If you're not performing on your job, then you're out of there, or it's not working for you.
Benched.
As it relates to the competitive nature in business, you're gonna have competitors in business. It's gonna be people that do the same thing that you do. So I think all of those are certain traits that kids have to develop early, and I think sports will help as it relates to that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, if you see them turning up and really working at these certain traits early in life, you would hope that they would eventually translate to their adult life.
I would not be here if it wasn't for all the L's that I took early on.
Right.
Just learning how to lose. First, you were so loser, you're like, ouch, this hurts. But then you're trying to understand why you're losing.
Right.
And then you're trying to do something about it.
Yep.
So, as we take these lessons, these L's, these lessons, right, you're always trying to figure out, how can I reevaluate and refocus, and then, supersede that, whatever it is that I feel like I failed at. And that's really what it was. Learn how to fail. You could develop a great relationship with failure in a way where it doesn't hurt anymore.
It's almost like what we was talking about earlier, like with business. The first time, it might not work.
Yeah.
but you got to get up and try again. That's
And if it don't work, it's not working for all the right reasons. And
right.
and that's what you got to look at it as. Like, whatever effort that you put in, it has nothing to do with that in particular. It's a timing thing. It's a maturation process. Like, even when you think you have all the intangibles, like there's still a period of time in cooking that you haven't gone through.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? The ingredients still have to come together. You know what I
Right.
mean? So yeah.
And while we're talking about that, another sport that I think takes a lot of discipline, grit, and perseverance that you're very well versed in is boxing.
Mm.
With boxing, of course, you being a coach that coaches on the highest level and having trained up championship
Yeah.
boxers and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
What was it that sparked your interest in boxing?
What sparked my interest in boxing? I didn't know how to fight.
Yeah.
I thought I did, and I didn't have to get my butt kicked. You know what I'm saying? For me to find that out, it was more or less I needed something to do. It was different. I was afraid to do it, so I was driven to do it,
Right.
and I sucked at it, and I'm not used to being bad at stuff in the beginning, and I
Right.
couldn't quite catch it. But then started doing it, caught it as a hobby, and then started training my friends but once I became a trainer, and then started getting clientele, and it just turned into a business. It just turned into a business, and it turned into something else too.
What are some common misconceptions about boxing? You hear Roger Mayweather say most people don't know nothing about boxing,
Yeah.
and that's a fact. You got casuals and people that think they know
Yeah.
about boxing, they don't. What are the misconceptions there?
It's
Let's clear
tons of
those things up.
it's tons of misconceptions. Everybody thinks you need power, but you need power if you like money. For the casual boxing fans, they don't completely know what they're looking at. There is a actual science behind like what's going on, just like in anything, in any martial art or anything that we do. Boxing is a lot of legs.
Right.
It's a lot of legs, and there's not enough strength and conditioning going on in boxing. I'm just gonna say that.
Right.
Because we're seeing the imbalance between skilled guys losing to just strong guys, and obviously you need some skills to beat the strong guys.
Right.
But
Do you think that
everybody
gives
think they
you
know
an
something about
edge?
boxing.
Do you think that gives you an edge with being a high level strength and conditioning coach and being a boxing coach?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely, because most teams are made up of many different coaches. Right. So it helps when you have other skills and you have different hats and you well versed, and what I'm saying, you committed and you passionate in those spaces. Because like I said, these things are super cohesive. So if you can find these things in one space, absolutely, like, go for it.
Which one do you enjoy doing the most?
Between the two?
The boxing side of your business or the strength and conditioning side?
No, that's hard because there's discoveries on both sides. When I feel like I'm falling in love with like the coaching, the X's and O's of boxing and what it is, it's like, dang, I'm getting pulled here, but then like we'll be in the middle of a workout and you'll feel something great, and you know that it's coming from like the constant reps that you putting in, or like you actually might be sparring and you like, yo, I'm not tired.
Right.
I'm BTA today. You know what I'm saying? I'm BTA today, and it's showing. Everybody can see it. So those things are like constantly pulling me back and forth between like what I think I like more. But like I said, like cohesive is the word today.
Right.
These things together make it a completely different thing for me, rather than me just being like one way with it. So yeah.
What do athletes or young up and coming boxers, what are some things that they need to know about being successful?
Film study. Film
Like
study.
like studying their opponents?
Watch yourself. If you can find something on your opponent, if you know your opponent, watch your opponent. But watch the greats. You know what I mean? We didn't make this up. We not reinventing the wheel. We just on it. You know what I'm saying? We all renting it. So the best thing you can do is watch somebody who was great at it, and watch it for everything that it is. Just don't watch what they did well. Watch them when they struggled and try to understand what was going on when they were struggling, why they were struggling. And then just try to pick up on the best traits and attributes, because everybody, it doesn't have speed. Everybody doesn't have power. Some people have a lot of spiritual presence where like they can overcome adversity. Like Holyfield was great for just, overcoming adversity. You see him get hurt, somehow he bounces back stronger in the fight. So, you have all these traits and these intangibles that really just go into it.
Relative to pro boxing, who are some of the greats in your opinion outside of Holyfield?
Everybody got top 5, right?
Yeah.
Top 10, top 5. Shout out to Holyfield, not in my top 5, but great fighter. I mean, you got the obvious greats, the Floyds, the Muhammad's, the Sugars, all the Sugars. Sugar Ray. You know what I'm saying? Leonard Robinson, Shane.
Right.
All the Sugars. You know what I mean? Alberto Poyos, those guys, or you know what I mean? Aris Landy Loras. Like, I mean, it's a lot of good boxers out there. It's a lot of good boxers. The Andre Wards, the Buds, the Shakurs. You know what I mean? It's a lot of great boxers out there.
I like what's going on in boxing right now. I think it's a lot of good things to come in pro boxing, especially with the welterweights.
Absolutely.
That kind of thing. And you got the Saudis coming in and they stirring things up and these guys able to get their money. I think one of the things or one of the issues with pro boxing is just the politics. People not wanting to fight this person because it's not the right time, and the money aspect, the belts, it's too many belts in boxing and that kind of thing. Who are some of your favorites right now? Current guys.
Shakur Stevenson.
Gotta say Shakur.
Shakur Stevenson, number 1. If you want to learn how to box, just watch Shakur Stevenson.
Yeah.
It's a hit, don't get hit, swim without getting wet. If it isn't Shakur, current guys, active guys, we talking levels. It's hard. I'm not big on Devin Haney, but Devin Haney get down.
Yeah.
I'm big on skill. I'm real big on skill. So if it isn't like a Shakur Award or a Bud, it's really like hard to really like put these. I mean, I like Inoue, I like Usyk, but I don't see the same level of skills.
Yeah.
But they got skills though. Dimitri Bivol, you know what I'm saying? David Benavidez, the monster.
Yeah.
Straight monster.
Man, what's up with Javante, man? I feel like he just squandering his career. And I think he done said stuff like he don't even care about the legacy of stuff, but he's so good when he's good. When he's on his game, he's good. He's
mental health, is it not mental health?
Right.
I mean, if he says it, he say he good and he don't care and he don't want the things, then he don't want it. And it sucks because like he's very talented. So to see them get squandered. I mean, what you think it is? Do you think he can come back?
I think he can. I just think he has to,
in the public's eye, like.
I do. And the thing is, it's never acceptable to put your hands on
anyone,
especially a woman.
Right.
However, domestic issues happen. I think you can come back from it. However, he got to get himself together first.
Yeah.
He's got to get his own mental health together. He got to figure out what he wants for himself. If he's saying that he doesn't care about the legacy or whatever the case may be, that's fine. But everybody has to make a living. And if you're talented at boxing, then eventually you'll have to figure out how to get your stuff together.
He's probably made some great investments if you can.
Yeah,
be on the course that he's on right now.
But that usually comes later, though.
Yeah,
he's still a young guy. You know what I mean? And I don't know what he's doing, but
nah, we know what he's doing.
It doesn't seem like he would be. He just the maturity level.
Yeah, for sure.
Isn't there
Definitely.
yet? You know what I mean? So I definitely think he can come back. I just think he has to get himself together. This this assault thing can't keep coming up.
Not at all.
This domestic violence stuff is unacceptable. You know what I'm saying? He got too much potential for that.
For sure.
And I think if and when he does come back, if he actually fights the top guys, I think we in for some fun boxing in the years to come.
Something historic for sure.
For sure. Especially between 140 and 147.
Yeah.
I think it's some fun
Maybe
stuff.
even a little higher, man. They say that power translate all the way to 180. That's what they say.
Yeah.
That's what they say.
Yeah. But like Tank in particular, he's small.
He's a small guy. Yeah.
You know, he's small. So I think his power at his weight class is rare. That's why he's knocking these guys out like that. You know what I mean? So I think he's got to figure it out, and I think he eventually will if he starts to listen to people around him and get some good mentors. Maybe Floyd wasn't the best situation, but once Floyd was out the picture, it's like who after that to get advice from and actually listen to.
Your mentor before Floyd, or the mentor that you had when he was with you.
Yeah,
you know
we all got to listen to somebody, man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And for me, you might say something. Well, if I'm right or if I'm wrong, you got to be accountable to somebody.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? And I think that's what it is for him. I think he got to figure that situation out. Somebody else that I'm excited about is Keyshawn, especially with being the hometown hero.
Yeah.
Excited about what happens with him. He's another one. He gonna have to keep his discipline together. You know what I'm saying? He's saying a lot of stuff and doing a lot of stuff sometimes that seems to be immature. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully he learned his lesson.
Hoping so.
With the thing with him and his brothers went and beat the guy up in Norfolk and that kind of thing. You can't be doing that when you're the hometown hero and you got all of this potential.
Shout out to him, by the way. Him and Frank Martin had a really good match. They're gonna have to run that back. Yeah, the guy that Keyshawn and his brother, ran down on was the guy that just currently fought Frank Martin.
Right. Exactly.
He made it absolutely competitive.
For sure.
It was a tie. So
for sure, that guy's a good fighter.
He is. He is. He got something with him.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
It's levels. It's levels.
Absolutely. And I like what Keyshawn doing with his brothers. And they have their own promotional thing going on down there. I think that could be something great. They just got to get it together and really lock in and take it serious. And I think he did realize that was a mistake and he messed up with what he did. And hopefully we'll see something better coming out of that.
I think we will. Keyshawn is a great boxer. He's a really good boxer. He's a dog too. He likes to fight. So now you got somebody that has both. You know what I mean?
What fight would you like to see? What would be like your dream fight out of the guys that are fighting right now? Which one are you most interested in?
I like Keyshawn versus almost anybody. Keyshawn is exciting to watch. I feel like win, lose, or draw with Keyshawn. I don't really get tired of watching Keyshawn fight. But definitely like some long overdue fights like Shakur, Devin. I would like to see. I don't know, man. Some tough fights. I want to get out of the welterweight though.
Right.
I want to get out of the welterweight. You got some heavyweight fights that are coming back around. You got Deontay Wilder getting back in the ring for his 50th fight. Listen.
He need to call you, man. He need some skills training, man.
Shout out to Deontay Wilder, man. Keep doing your thing. Keep feeding your family, dog.
For sure.
Keep fighting for the people.
For sure.
Keep fighting for the people.
I like Wilder. He got to do a little bit more than just that right hand, though. I think.
You got to box, bro. You got to box. You got to box.
So shifting away from boxing and just going back to entrepreneurship and business and with you being a great businessman yourself and that sort of thing and still developing and still getting better every day. What is your definition of success for yourself?
It's crazy because I feel like success has been redefined so many ways to be where I am today. Success for myself, especially now that I have a family, I have a son, is stability and just really a platform for him,
right?
More or less. I don't really care for too much outside of that now. Love to see my business grow. you know what I'm saying, 200, 300 clients, you know,
Right.
over the course of time. But now more than ever, just, you know what I'm saying, just building really good stability to where I can just be there for them, be there for them, for him, and support them as best as I can. That's success
I
for me.
completely agree with you on that. I saw a clip online where I saw Dana White say, "I just want to be a good dad."
Yeah.
And I think that's a level of success, especially for like someone like me who comes from the household that I came from and the dynamics of the household. Just being a good dad, being a great parent, family man, someone that can provide and that sort of thing is a level of success.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Just being able to sustain coming from where I come from and coming out of the environment that I came out of, just being able to sustain is a level of success
Yeah.
aside from the business, the accolades
Right.
and everything that comes with that. It's more about stability. And I think everyone has their own definition of success for themselves, and that's why I asked that question. It's not always directly correlated to business. A lot of times, as you just mentioned, it's about just your personal growth and development and who you are as a person and as a man. So I like that answer to that question because I look at it the exact same way.
Mm.
Just being in a space that I'm in from the aspect of being a father and managing my family and sustaining on a certain level, that is a level of
Yeah.
success. Now, we do have other tiers of success where we do look at business and production and that
Hmm.
sort of thing. With that being said, where do you see E12 in the next 5 years?
Well, I definitely see E12 as a multi-location business, multi-location gym. It's a lot to offer there and a lot to give. I also see maybe some like sub factions of like some fitness that we grow out of the E12 space and start doing some other fitness aspected businesses and things of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
But just more or less just connecting with as many people as possible, more people, trying to help more people. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? Really. And just building relationships, just coming into contact with just more people.
What impact do you think that your business and your development as a businessman, and even as it relates to working with student athletes and so forth and the youth, what impact do you think that had on your walk as a father?
Mm. I think it's had a heavy impact.
Mm-hmm.
With dealing with so many different relationships, you get different energies,
Mm-hmm.
and you learn how to, be a little bit more in balance with like the things, being more in tune with like your surroundings,
Mm-hmm.
and then being able to read the room a lot better. I am someone who's rigid. I see things in black and white quite
Mm-hmm.
often, and just from the total experience, like life is not black and white.
Yeah.
You know, there are some gray areas, some deep gray areas. There's shades
Right.
everywhere, and there's depth to these shades. So I think mostly it's that I'm always being excuse me, I'm always being shown and taught something like new. I'm always discovering something. Like I think you know somebody,
Mm-hmm.
and then you either having a conversation or you witness them do something, and it's like it can be mind blowing, and it's
Yeah.
like this is new to me. And it's cool. So you have these things that just reset you, and like you say, things happen in cycles and waves. So you just get used to that, and then yeah, you just try to apply it as best you can in your personal life, because Lord Jesus, like he said, it ain't no playbook, ain't no blueprint to parenting at all.
Facts.
But coaching and parenting are very similar.
Mm-hmm.
They're very similar.
You're doing a good job, bro.
Appreciate it.
Of course I gotta ask you this with me being a real estate guy, the
Mm.
real estate guy. What did working in your business and leasing spaces and that sort of thing teach you about the real estate game?
It teaches me that, one, you want to own. Ownership is everything, and it's going to allow you to make moves in other spaces when you're doing it a certain way and you're giving yourself enough time to let things mature, right? I would love to pull all of the rent that I've been paying to this lease out and be able to reinvest it into my business.
Right.
You know, that lease, that rent is equity to the mortgage of that commercial space.
Right.
I don't get that back.
Right.
You know
Absolutely.
what I mean?
I've been preaching that for 8 years, man. I've been telling people that ownership is everything for about 8 years, not as a gimmick to sell houses or persuade anyone to do anything, but just as an avenue to bring awareness to equity and appreciation.
Yeah.
That's the most important piece.
Yeah.
I have a lot of people that I hear say they prefer to rent as opposed to owning because they don't want to be quote unquote stuck in a certain space for a
Location.
number of time, or they plan on moving or whatever the case may be. And regardless, that doesn't account for the equity and appreciation that you could possibly be losing out on. I've worked with military families and they move around a ton.
Yeah.
But when they move, they buy houses. When they buy houses, those houses appreciate. And even if they move in 3 years, they walk away with some money. If they're renting a property, then you walk away with nothing. So I think, if not anything, you have the major key down as it relates to real estate, and that's the appreciation, the equity, and the fact that you're actually making an investment and you'll be able to get that money back one day. And I think that's the number one thing overall.
Yeah.
Even down to, I was talking about this before, people who say that they just think renting or owning isn't for them because, you know, I've heard people say that they're too old. I've heard people say that, right.
Fitness.
I've heard people say that the bank owns the property, not you. Regardless, we're dismissing the equity and the appreciation. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's something that I've been driving home for the last 8 years, and I plan to continue to do that. I'm gonna talk about it till I'm blue in the face until, you know.
That's what you're the real estate guy. Right. You know what I mean?
Real estate is something that is multi-generational. You know what I'm saying? So I do think for the people who are parents and that sort of thing, they have to consider the kids as well.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Definitely. It's something that is tangible.
It is.
It's something that they can pass on for generations and generations and generations. And ultimately, it'll become worth a lot more than it was before in multiple different ways.
Keep it in the family.
Yep.
Keep it in the family.
As far as other investments, what are some other things that interest you? I know you've done some stock trading and that sort of thing. Talk about that.
Small little dips and dabbles into the stock market. Obviously owning stocks and then just trading stock options and things of that nature. Learn about futures. But just another space, just like real estate, that you know we can learn to utilize and just capitalize on some money, man. You know, there's highs and lows in the market. You're gonna have your wins and your losses. You're gonna have success, but like the biggest thing is that you just get your foot in and you just try to learn as much as you can, and just try to make educated choices and decisions. Again, it's just another space that's going to teach you a lot about yourself and your emotions. So definitely something that I think is lucrative for anybody to get into, and it's right there on your phone. It's a trade and a skill, and if you get it down, you can pretty much almost make money anytime.
No, for sure. From the aspect of stock investing, I really like the long game. I like to look at companies that are big, companies that probably aren't going anywhere anytime soon, and that sort of thing, and invest in those companies. Has been proven that these companies are stable and they're gonna grow.
Yeah.
They're gonna become more valuable companies and that sort of thing, which once again is just another thing that's super important as it relates to generational wealth.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It just seems like it's it's a lot about positioning,
Mm-hmm.
you know, whether it's real estate or it's the stock market or, you know, anything that we just decide to get into. But definitely, like, I guess the sooner that you get in,
Right.
the better. Everything has a little crash, but it always shoots back up.
Right.
And you just want to make sure that you are positioned to, you know, be able to get what you want to get out of it
For sure.
versus looking from the outside in and be like, dang, I waited.
For sure. I appreciate you doing this, bro. Again, I know you're a busy man. You got a lot
Appreciate you.
going on and that sort of thing. And I've been wanting to do this for a while. Just bringing on innovative thinkers and bringing on entrepreneurs and business people and people that are in the community doing things, and you fit in all of those bubbles. And I just want to encourage you to keep doing your thing, man. Stay encouraged. Keep waking up every day grinding. I know you a coach. You always doing the coaching. So I just want to encourage you to
Appreciate
say,
it. Thank
keep
you.
waking up every day, doing your thing, man. There's always going to be highs and lows. There's always going to be distractions and things we got to deal with. But we just got to kind of keep waking up every day doing
That's
our
right.
thing. And at the end of the day, it's that same consistency that we talked about with fitness and ultimately getting somewhere as it relates to weight loss and all of that sort of thing.
It all compounds, y'all.
Absolutely.
It all
It's
compounds.
a journey. We got to have a discipline. We just got to kind of keep waking up every day, doing our thing and giving it our best, and eventually it's going to work.
It always does.
I appreciate you, Coach.
Appreciate
Thanks
you,
for
man.
doing this, man.
Absolutely.
It's been a pleasure.